Welcome back for another project. Today's project, well, it's not just going to be today, it's going to be a couple day project. Will be a forklift telehandler boom, pictured like this one. I've made probably a half a dozen of these for a customer, and they got another one they need, so I'm going to build it. So I'm going to start off by cutting this 3x5 by 3/16 wall rectangular tubing. I need 5 pieces from it. 2 of the pieces are going to be 42 inches long, and the other 3 will be 26 inches long. That will form the base that it sits on, and we'll cut up the other parts as we go, and I'll be sure to note the material size. So let's get started. 2 at 42 inches. If you pay attention to her, she won't drop the ball. If you ignore her, she'll leave it right at your feet. Ready, Andy? Hey! She loves it. Now we need 3 at 26 inches. Okay, our pieces for the base are cut. I'll cut the 3 3/4 inch square tube, and that's going to be at 10 foot. So let me load that up. Next piece is 1/2 inch thick. It's going to be 7 inches long, 4 inches wide. Only one of those. Next piece is also 1/2 inch thick, and it's going to be 6 3/8 long by 3 3/4 wide. Okay, the next piece we're going to cut is 3.5 by 3.5 by 3/16 square tube. This will be the main portion that the 3 3/4 telescopes through. Okay, next piece is 1/2 inch by 2 inch, and this one is going to be 110 inches long. So the next pieces I'm going to cut are 1.5 inch square tubing, 1 at 4 inches. I already happen to have that one in the scrap. And then 2 more that have 45-degree angles that are 4 1/4 inches long. So those 2 pieces are cut. The last piece to be cut is a 3/8 thick, 1.5 inch wide by 3 inches long. To recap on our pieces: 1/2 inch by 2 by 110, 3.5, 3.5, 3/16 by 10 foot, 3 3/4 by 10 foot, 2 3 by 5 by 3/16 by 42 inches, 3 3 by 5 by 3/16 by 26 inches, a 1/2 inch 4 by 7, 1/2 inch 3.5 by 6 3/4, 2 1.5 inch by 3/8 by 3.5 long, 2 1.5, 1.5, 3/16 by 4.25 with 45-degree miters, and 1, 1.5, 1.5, 3/16 by 4 inches. I'm ready to begin drilling holes in the tubes. So the first hole I'm going to drill is in the outer tube. It'll be 2 inches from the end. There'll be only one hole. It'll be 13/16. So I have the Bridgeport set up with 13/16 annular cutter. Unfortunately, I don't have a long enough cutter to go all the way through to do 2 holes at once. So I've already pre-marked both sides out. So I just need to get the slug out of here. And then I'm going to flip that tube over, do the other side of the hole, and then this piece is done. There it goes. So I just need to flip it around. Okay, so this piece is done. It only required the one hole out at the end for the adjustment pin. So I'm going to swap this tube with that tube. I have my holes marked out over here, but I want to show you a little trick of how I mark them appropriately so that way the holes all line up, because if we're off a little bit, you're going to have a bunch of trouble with the pin. I do oversize this hole by a 1/16. It's a 3/4 pin, 13/16 hole. So we do have a little bit of adjustment, but still I want it to go through nice. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I have the 3-inch tube fit inside the 3.5-inch tube. You can see the hole in the 3.5-inch tube. And I also have the line that I use to drill the hole. So each drill location I have marked out on the 3-inch tube. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line the marks up. So that way they're straight. And when I get that, I'm going to take my iron worker punch and use it as a transfer punch. Stick it in the hole on both sides. Take a hammer, give it a pop, and it's going to leave a dimple where I need to drill it out. And I have 4 locations, so I will do that to each side. So all of my locations are marked now. Let me show you the dimples. So using that transfer punch, now I got nice dimples. So that way it's my guide. That way I know when I drill these holes out, they'll go through nice and clean. They won't be crooked. It's a helpful little tip. I know you might not have an iron worker, but you could also just scribe a circle on the inside. That'd be helpful too. So I'm going to go ahead and load this up on the Bridgeport and get it drilled. All right, I'm loaded up. So I'm ready to drill hole 1. So I'll drill 1 and then just slide it down, move to the other until all 4 on one side are done. Then I'll rotate it around to get to the other side. I'll line it up my holes and then just go back down. And as soon as I'm done drilling all of the holes, I'll put it back in that tube, and then I'm going to take my pin and check the fit of everyone just to be sure that the alignment is all correct. My holes are all drilled, so now I'm going to go ahead and put the inner tube back into the outer tube, and we're going to check the alignment. I have the tubes back in. Kind of important to note your orientation because the outer tube has a bit more play in it than, it's not form-fitting by any means. So what I like to do is use the weld seams as my guide. So those will be up. And I like to do that for 2 reasons. As a guide to which way the orientation is, and then also when they are pulling it out, I like to have that little weld seam up, so that way it's not dragging. It would get caught and burred, and it'd probably be a nightmare to pull it out if that weld seam were on the bottom. So let's check the fit. So my pin is a 3/4 inch pin, like so. So I'm just going to check all 4 locations. So I'm going to line up the holes, and as you can see, straight on through, no binding. The next hole, pin straight on through. on through. Straight on through. So I'm happy with all of the alignments. Let's slide these back together. And just pin them together for the time being. And this portion is complete. The next phase of this project will be making a few slots in these blocks, which will be for the safety chains. And then this will also need a hole in this plate, and that will be where the shackle goes that the chain attaches to, that the hook will be hanging from for them to pick things. So I have the iron worker set up with my slotted punch and die and the back gauge set. So I'm gonna slot the holes for the safety chain, and then I'll change out the tooling and put a 5/8 hole in that end plate. Just like that. Okay, those two pieces are done. I'm going to switch out the tooling, and so I can put the hole in this plate. I already have the plate marked and punched, so all I have to do is put the punch right on my center punch there. There you have it. So all of our parts are now finished. So now I have to do the unfavorite part of cleaning everything up where the welding will take place, and then we can start assembling. So I'm going to gather up the parts, head outside because it's nice. I'd rather make a mess out there, and we'll get everything cleaned up. I have all the parts gathered up, and I'm going to start grinding. Unfortunately, Andy, I'm going to disturb your peace. Okay, our parts are clean. Let's get them all inside and get to work. Have my outside perimeter pieces set up. So now I'm just going to tack them into place, check for square, and then as soon as we're good on square, then I'll install the middle piece, tack it up so that way I can rotate it around and then weld all of the joints fully. .55 and 5/16. We're 55 3/8. That's pretty darn close. So close that I'm going to call that close enough. So let me get a cross piece to clamp that to the bottom so that way I can lay the middle piece right across so it can hold it up. Because it weighs a little bit and I don't want to try to do it without that. There's what our base looks like. I'm going to start welding the bottom side opposite of the tacks. Do these flats, rotate it, and do the same. Okay, the base is done. Show you the weld so that way you can see that I actually can weld. Inside, kind of hard to see. Then I'm going to flip it over. This way you know I'm not hiding anything from you. Okay, that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll finish it up.